This is Renee Romeo. Today I'm going to show you how to make a low sugar or no sugar apple pie, which is also gluten-free. I have Granny Smith apples, Cortland apples, and McIntosh apples, and I have 9 of them. Combine them in a pot like so, nicely chopped and peeled. I'm going to put a tablespoon of cinnamon in with the apples, a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom, a half a stick of butter. And so the half a stick of butter is just going to bring out some of the moisture in the apples. And I'm just going to put this on top of the stove for about 15 minutes. Now I'm just stirring this and breaking up the apples a little bit so that they can get evenly distributed and get an even amount of heat over the tops of all of them. In a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add 1 cup of almond flour, a 1/4 cup of sorghum, and a 1/4 cup of white rice flour. To that, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. And you need xanthan gum because if you try to mix this together without it, when you roll it out, it's going to fall apart and flake off. So I'm just going to whisk this until it's nice and smooth. Almond flour tends to be sticky and sticks together and clump, so I'll try to break this up as much as possible. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. Once the flours are all blended together, I have 1 stick of butter. And the butter that I'm using, it's not quite room temperature, it's still a little bit cold. And I'm just going to add this in like so, and then take a pastry cutter, I have my grandmother's old pastry cutter here, and just cut this in. And you'll see that it's not quite room temperature at this point. So you're just going to do this until you get something that resembles little pea-sized chunks of butter. You're going to add egg white. So you're just going to separate out your egg. I'm going to add just a little bit of this in. This is a large egg, and the large egg is probably just a little bit too much for rolling purposes. You'll see at this point it's more like a cookie dough. So I've just turned the dough out into the pie plate. You wind up with something that looks like this, where it's nice and even all along the bottom and the sides. And the apple mixture is done, and you'll see the apples are still firm. They're not mushy or soggy, really. And we're just going to go ahead and dump this right into that pie crust. Okay, it's all smoothed out, and the last thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take some coconut sugar, and coconut sugar has a little bit of molasses flavor to it, which is great. It's not too sweet, but I am going to add this to the top of the pie just to give it a nice golden brown color. And it gets popped into the oven at 375 for about 45 minutes. Well, there you have it. Straight out of the oven. The way that you tell that the gluten-free crust is done, it is a little bit more spongy than regular crust. It's not going to crisp up on you, and it's definitely not going to brown on you like regular crust. So 45 minutes in my oven was perfect, and it should be right around there in your oven as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you could join me for a piece of this pie, but it's going to be perfect and not too sweet. So this is Renee Romeo. Until next time, I'll bring you another great recipe.